From the House of Songo, this is Gaytopix, my life. I'm Kenny Cruz, your host, and these are real life stories, real life events, actual true stories and experiences I've had in my lifetime. Due to the graphic nature and sensitive language of this program, viewer discretion is highly advised. All rights reserved. Copyright 2022. Again, I'm Kenny Cruz, your host, and this is Gaytopix, my life. I'm calling this episode Psycho. Come to the dark side. No, I'm not wearing this purposely like that. I have unmasked a really hard life. A really disturbing life. A really unfortunate life. A really lonely life. A very disturbing life. I've unmasked it all, and the mask is now revealed. Ironically, since the pandemic, I have not been seen without a mask. You have to excuse me for a minute as I try to focus because I suffered a brain injury. But yeah, I've unmasked what is beneath the surface. I feel now this is who I am. This is what I've become. This is the life that I've led. And these scars and bruises and abrasions and lumps and bumps and tears and marks and scars are all a reflection of the suffering I've endured my entire life. Again, that's what I was saying. Since the pandemic, I have the irony behind me unmasking myself and becoming my true, authentic self throughout this series, Gaytopix, my life. I actually have not been seen without a mask. So, 2.5, 3 years, no one's actually seen my face. I have always gone in public with a mask. I'm not seen without a mask. In fact, I'm actually frowned upon, and there's a stigma now with people who wear masks. Most of them commit crimes. Others are mentally disturbed, or the elderly and frail, or they're just simply trying to hide something. I don't want people to see what they've made me. I do have so many characteristics and traits of those of serial killers and psychopaths, which is why I titled this episode Ipsycho. I don't know if it's hereditary or genetic and is being passed down onto me, because I know my mother had severe mental illness because of her addiction. In fact, she was using while she was pregnant with me, and I was premature, as was my sister. We're twins. So I'm not sure if it's genetic or if it's due to the numerous incidences in which my head has been severely wounded and hurt and damaged. I hope I recall doing it, but there should be a past episode of Gaytopix, My Life, in which I've described in detail so many instances in which my head was bashed or banged up or hit, and could it possibly be because of all those, hits against and blows against my brain? Could my brain be shifting or focusing onto the dark side? I mean, I can't say that because I've already lived a dark life. I've already lived through horrors and death and blood and gore. But now it's happening to me. Again, I don't know if all these illnesses or injuries that are happening to me has something to do with me being banged upside my head. When they were babies, it's called shaken baby syndrome. But I'm sure as an adult, it should be called something else. What is it called in the football field? They're trying to study that now, where you have severe blows to the head, and it may cause you to think differently, do things differently, and commit heinous and horrific crimes. Every serial killer or mass shooter or, murderer is always admitted to, being cool, calm, and collected, and saying that they would never do anything like that. But they still do it. So regardless of how I'm speaking or saying, does it really matter? Because my brain is going to do what it's going to do. And throughout this series, Gaytopix, My Life, I've seen some changes and signs of despair, and like my personality is changing just like my reflection has. What's even more disturbing of the fact that I have similar characteristic and traits of those who have committed some of the most horrific of crimes, but the way I fell face first onto the tile of my bathroom floor and literally ripped my eyebrow off. You've seen it in a past episode, Jane, I'm dying. Or was it The Emergency? I don't know. I'm wearing the same clothes because I'm in a lot of pain, and I just want to die. But back to my point of Ipsycho. I named this episode Ipsycho because I have similar characteristics and traits of psychopaths and sociopaths and serial killers. The list goes on. But not only in real life, but fictional as well. And like I said, when I fell face first. And when I was in the emergency room, they were in the ER, they were asking me how I fell. And the best way I could describe it is how I described it in a past episode. But I used a reference of, Norman Bates and Psycho, because when he killed Vivian Lee in the shower and she fell, and how Alfred Hitchcock zoomed in on her eye and all the blood was going down a drain. That's essentially what happened to me. And I was literally like she was, halfway out of the tub and halfway on the floor, and blood everywhere, and just staring because I was unconscious. So I just thought that was very interesting, how there's another reference to someone doing horrific things and committing crimes of the unthinkable. And now, I'm not that diabolical though. I would never be so evil, but could this image now and this reflection at this current state of my life, could I become, or am I now, because of what has been done to me throughout my life, evil? As I said, my life has been filled with darkness. I'm blind. My life has been filled with darkness. That's all I see is darkness. And I remember people would always tell me, you have to think positive, or that was The Secret or something. You remember that book, The Secret? Yeah, so you think positive and positive things will happen to you and it'll come to you. Bullshit. I can't think positive because nothing positive ever happens. Or, I can only base my opinion on my experience. And my experience tells me that it's negative. And that's all I can tell you, because that's all I experience is negative. Just like that whole abandonment thing, when that guy said to me that I suffer abandonment issues, but then abandons me. Why would you do that? These are the things that are just of my life, and if I so happen to be evil, just know that I was a really nice person. Who let people walk all over him and was victimized over and over and over and over again by the system and by the very people he trusted, and they were very few of them. He missed out on so many great opportunities because of other people's opinions and judgments, or not just simply giving him a chance. to shine or succeed. There's another similar characteristic and trait of a serial killer: blaming others. I can't help but blame others because others are the ones that are in my lives. They're all strangers, and they're doing their jobs just to fill a quota. I just thought of something as I was speaking. When I was in an ambulance for the second time going to Columbia Presbyterian, the EMT made me sign something on her iPad. And I've never done that before in an ambulance. I wonder why. Usually when you sign something, you have to share information. So what is it that I'm sharing if they already have my information? Again, giving more people access to my history to come up with their own conclusions and misdiagnosis and biased judgment against me. All these people were hired to help. Where were you when I fell and needed 21 stitches? 21 stitches. That irony too, because my dog Bill Clinton lived to be 21 and I have 21 stitches. I don't know. Perhaps he's part of me now for the rest of my life. We will never be separated. And I got my wish. He will always be with me forever. He will always be with me forever. Forever. His death really changed me. It really did. After all, that's what death does, right? Perhaps death can make you evil too. All it takes is one little simple trigger. And I don't know, but something is wrong. And something is seriously wrong. And no one is helping. And no one is here to hug me, to hold me, to listen, to let me cry, to let me cook for them, to walk the dog together. That's something so remarkable. With my eye being swelled up, I was using, because this is the eye that I see from, because I'm blind in this eye. So for me to actually see, I see through my left eye. And with my eye being puffy, it's been really difficult to see and walk the dog. Or even record these messages or videos, which I still don't understand why. But again, I looking back at all the past episodes of Gaytopix, My Life, I've shown you who's you. I've said do it again. Looking back at all these past episodes of Gaytopix, My Life, I've said some really disturbing and graphic stories and shown you some really horrific and gorish images. Again, I believe all this these images that you associate with murder and serial killers and blood and stuff is all a reflection of that. And then there's the fact that I'm dying, and I'm slowly, again, from the day that I started doing this series to right now, there is a severe change in my appearance. If that doesn't say enough, I don't know what else I can do. I don't know what to do now. I'm just talking to a camera, and it's been revealing and graphic and disturbing, but this is my life. These are real life stories, actual true events that happened to me. I'm using people's real names. It isn't defamation, because I don't care if they would sue me. But then again, it's no one's watching this or no one's seeing this. So, but even if it got to the point of someone bringing up a lawsuit, you can't deny the truth. This actually happened, and because these people are dead doesn't make it feel like I've gotten my justice or justice was served. Like Emmett Till's mother, and they confessed after, what was it, 4 years later that they did it, or 4 months later, and she had to live with that for the rest of her life until she died, and she never sought justice. That's essentially how I feel. It's, the case is not closed because I'm still going through this trauma that has affected my life and changed me and perhaps made me evil. I don't know. But if I am psycho, then watch out. And your little dog too.